You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday, October 1st. October is officially here. I don't know what happened to September. Like it just flew by, which it always does. August, I think, is the fastest month of the year. September is right there after it, but we're into October. It's crazy to even think about. Thank you guys for watching wherever you're watching at. If you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you for doing that. We appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribing and liking and all of those kind of fun things. And I always say tell a friend or two or 10 or 100 about what we're doing each and every day at 10 a.m. Each and every weekday at 10 a.m. Some weekends, but not everyone. So 5 days a week, though. It's been a bunch of fun. I want to thank you guys for watching on X as well. X has been very, very good to us, so we appreciate that. If you're on X, you want to hit us back up, give us your thoughts, all those kind of things, please do that as well. We're on all the podcasting platforms there are. Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Podbean, you name it. Wherever you go to get your podcast, put in Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. You can listen to the show every single day. You don't have to look at me, and I appreciate that. It's a beautiful day here in the Quad Cities. Another day to get outside and do yard work or go for a run or work out, whatever you're doing. Toss on the show and take us along with you. God knows I'm probably not getting a run in today. So take me with you is what I'm trying to say. Hopefully it'll help me out as well. And also a welcome to our newer viewers in Central Iowa. Love the feedback from you guys as well. I think you'll like today's show. It's a good one. We got an Iowa legend we're going to lead off with here in just a minute. So a lot to get to on today's show. You got football, basketball, baseball, you name it. So a ton to get to. Coming up, as I mentioned, in just a matter of moments, we'll be joined by Hawkeye legend Tim Dwight. A lot to get caught up with Tim Dwight. Obviously, I want to get his thoughts on Hayden Fry and what he's doing in the return game. Iowa football in general, what Kirk Ferentz has done over the last 25 plus years, and then some Hayden Fry stories. I'd love to get his thoughts on them as well. So Tim Dwight coming up in a matter of moments right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Also, all eyes on the recruiting world right now. You'll see me on my phone every once in a while because there's a big announcement coming for the Iowa women's basketball team, and there it is. And it was supposed to come out at 10 o'clock. We're at 10:03. McKenna Woliczko is officially committed to the University of Iowa. She just announced it at 10 a.m., so 3 minutes ago. She chooses Iowa over South Carolina, Ohio State, and USC. She's rated as the 6th best player in the class by Rivals. I believe that's the highest rated recruit in Iowa women's basketball history. I know Addie Deal's right there. I know that Caitlin Clark's right there, but it's official just moments ago. Iowa signing McKenna Woliczko with or getting the commitment from her. Here's the good news. Coming up later in hour number 1, our Iowa women's basketball expert, Kyle Huesman, will be along to tell us all about the commitment, what it means to Iowa basketball. We'll also talk to him about the Fever last night, officially ending their season. A crazy game, a crazy run for them considering all the injuries. So we'll have that. Plus, some big talk of the WNBA when it comes to the commissioner and star players. We've got a lot to get to with Kyle, but the big news, Iowa and Coach Jensen picks up the biggest recruit in Iowa women's basketball history. Awesome for them. So more on that with Kyle Huesman coming up around 10:30, 10:35 in today's show. Also, it's Wednesday, which means it's time for Ness Gues. Mark Nessler will be along. If anybody doesn't understand Ness Gues, obviously people here in the Quad Cities get it, but our new viewers in Central Iowa, Mark Nessler covered our area for 40 years as a sports writer, sports editor for one of the newspapers. Always had a Ness guest contest, basically just a pick'em contest. And it was in the newspaper, then it was online. About 6-7 years ago, it went away when Ness was done at the paper. And we missed it, so we brought it back. So Mark Nessler, thank you to Hungry Hobo for sponsoring Ness Guests. We'll have Mark Nessler and the Ness Guest segment coming up in hour number 2 of the show. Plus, the Cubs win. They're one win away from playing in the NLDS. We got more to talk to you about that as well, because the Cubs are playing again today at 2:08. With a chance to punch their ticket to the next round. We mentioned they won 3-1 yesterday in Game 1. They got back-to-back home runs in the 5th inning from Seiya Suzuki and Carson Kelly. That turned a 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 lead. They added one more. Matthew Boyd was good. Pitched into the 5th inning, only gave up 1 earned run. The bullpen outstanding after that. So the Cubs win 3-1. They move on, or excuse me, they are 1 win away from playing in the NLDS. And a little Iowa football news before we get to Tim Dwight. The coordinators met with the media yesterday. Iowa on a bye week, so the coordinator's always available. Everyone wondering about Mark Randazzo. Tim Lester basically said it's a cloudy situation. He used the word cloudy. We'll find out more about his availability for Wisconsin next Tuesday when the head coach, Kirk Ferentz, talks to the media. So a wait and see on Mark Randazzo. The word cloudy used by Tim Lester yesterday when it comes to his availability, maybe against Wisconsin and moving on, and how bad the knee injury might be. So, of course, Iowa with the week off, which gave me a great opportunity to track down one of the fastest dudes I've ever seen play college football. That's Tim Dwight. So joining me now, a very familiar face to Iowa football fans, Tim Dwight joining me right now. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Matt. It's kind of nice getting a call every once in a while to get an interview these days.
Oh, no. It's funny, Tim, and I'll tell you, kind of what sparked it was obviously Hayden Fry and his success. And you look at what you've done, and people started asking me, like, who's the best kick return specialists, and Iowa's had so many, and obviously you're the first name that comes to mind, but the Cooper DeJeans and the Weegens and the list goes on and on. So that kind of put it in my mind, and I kind of want to start there with you, because obviously that's something, when you left, you rewrote the record books. What do you see when you see Hayden Fry and the abilities and the skills that he has now?
Well, I'll tell you, it's been really exciting to watch him return the last 2 years. Last year he kind of broke up into the scene. He won the Jet Award by Johnny Rodgers. He's all, going to be All-American, All Big Ten, won the Big Ten Award, with my name on it, which is pretty special, especially being a guy like Johnny Rodgers. He's like top 100 player of all time at Sports Illustrated. So that's pretty neat. But yeah, it's been really fun. I've gotten to know him a little bit. I had the opportunity to present him the award I think it was in April in Omaha for the Johnny Rodgers Jet Award. So I was like, hey, we're going to be back here again next year. So all you got to do is just, keep the same attitude and doing what you're doing and do everything you can this year. This is your last year, right? So on actually the way back from the event, I sent him a pretty long text on things. Because when as a player, you look back on your career and you're like, man, I wish I would have done that. I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd practiced a little bit more on this. So just giving him a little bit of insight on some things, seeing from the outside looking in on where he can improve his game. The 95-yard punt return he had kind of reminded me a little bit about the one I had against Indiana. He can't come all the way across the field and up the sideline and back in the middle. So it's been so fun to watch him, and I wish he'd get the ball a little bit more on offense too.
Tim, you look at it and you know how to do it. You did it at a high level. What's that like? What's that like to have a ball in the air coming at you and knowing that there's 11 guys that are about ready to do anything they can to prevent you from going that way? What is it like, and what made you successful? Is it easy to say, like, this is what I tried to do, or how did you approach, what made you special at doing what you did?
Some of it's innate, like a lot of it, especially when I talk to Hayden a bit, I say, you just got to go off your reaction. You can set things up there a little bit, maybe at the beginning of your return, but everything else is just off instinct and go. get wide and put your foot in the ground and get upfield, and then just get through that first wave and see where you need to go, right? And obviously, they have returns called, so you try to lean towards, which way the return is going. But yeah, just being reactive and just getting excited about being out there too. Like, he's pretty intense, when he's getting ready to return, and getting yourself elevated, your adrenaline going, because when you break through that, and he knows, because he had quite a bit. When you break through that last wave, I mean, it's just like, it's a whole nother gear that kicks into your body. I mean, the excitement, the energy, the adrenaline, it just goes through the roof, man. And he just feels like you're shot out of a cannon once you hit that last defender that you pass. And you can see it in his returns, especially on that 94-yarder where he kind of cut through and then cut up the sideline, and then he cut back in the middle and just dropped the hammer and, just exploded to that last hole and finished, and just was walking away from everybody on the return too, which is great to see. You as a returner, you kind of want to leave everybody in the dust. You want to turn the afterburners on and hit that end zone.
No, absolutely.
And it's so exciting. Every return is like that. And it's, Indiana did a really good job of keeping the ball away from him. They had a really bomber in the kickoff return, and then obviously they were kicking the punts out of bounds. But he's got to be patient. It's going to come to him again, but these teams now see that you don't be kicking the ball to 21 too many times.
No, absolutely. Tim Dwight, the great Tim Dwight, joining me right now and off there with Matt Randazzo. Tim, you look at things, and it's special players at Iowa, but it's also I think maybe a system a little bit at Iowa. When they go all the way back to Hayden and what you did, kind of talk about that a little bit, because obviously the individual talent and the innate ability to do what you guys do is important. But I mean, you go back to Rutgers, and I feel like I probably could have returned it to the 40 because of the way things were blocked up. They teach it. I only say the
sometimes
40.
They happen.
I don't think I could have gotten to the 50, but I mean, like maybe the 40. Kind of talk about that, because it's just not ironic that a lot of the success comes at Iowa. Kind of talk about those guys around you and how they teach it up, maybe coach it up at the University of Iowa a little bit.
Well, I think with the success that we've had, it's just kind of presented a precedent of just like, we're going to be a good return team. Dwight did it in the 90s. We didn't have too much in the 80s. There wasn't too many big returns I can remember when I was a small kid. And then going forward for me, we've had some great returners, and I think it's just something we pride ourselves on at Iowa. And it's a big, important play. I mean, it's the one play in the game that the change of field is so huge, and you get an opportunity to create a big, huge play. And if you really care about that, it can be a weapon. And if you got a guy back there that has the ability and speed and the fearlessness, because it's not for the weak heart running up through in there.
No.
And nowadays the guys are a little bit lighter and faster, because they have to, I think, run a little bit different. So you don't see as many guys having to bust a wedge. So, and it's a lot more like not a lot of blow up blocks. I think Iowa, we do a great job, and especially with Coach Woods, is that understanding the dynamics of the play, right? Like, it's not always about blowing somebody up, right? It's always about just being right there when we need you. And I think they do such a great job of that as I'm watching, not just Caden, but like the guys coming down, and they're understanding when to pick their guys up and where to pick them up and how to pick them up. Because like all we need is just a body in between a body, and we can get upfield, and then boom. Once we're upfield into that first wave, it can be anywhere, and it can be a home run, and that's what they're seeing. And seeing them just like elevate their play, and every return is almost returnable in their mind, and that's where you need to be as a unit. And I'll mention to them, like, make sure your guys are there, and tell them to be there when you need them. And you don't need them a lot. The play happens kind of more down the field, in the early part of the return, before you obviously break one up through there. But I just think that Iowa, we've had the importance that we've stressed on these returns, and then us returners were just taking it, and like demanded for us to get to another level and demand, touchdowns, like, hey, if you block from me, we're going to the house, and that's, I think, has just been pushed down, through me, as well as, into Ferentz's, tenure here and all the returners, and seeing how important that is. Because like, it's a huge play. I mean, the kickoff return is kind of like a crapshoot every once in a while, but the punt return, if you can really do your job, I mean, you can create massive plays every play, every punt. If you can get that ball in that guy's hand and give him 10 yards, whew, I mean, it could go to the house.
Yeah.
And especially if you got guys up front that can run and understand those dynamics and can run. You're gonna have a good return team.
Tim Dwight
But I
joining
think
me
it's
right now.
stressing it and coaching it and really caring about it and making it a reliable, dependable, and an exciting play that every time that 21 steps on the field or 6 or I can't remember. Dejim was 3, right?
Yeah, I
Is he
think
number
so.
3?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Anytime
so.
those guys up on the field, people are getting up in the stands, and it's like there's that buzz, like something's going to happen.
No, absolutely.
And that
Tim
just
Dwight.
resonates through your guys, as your guys that are up front blocking for you. They get just as excited about you, returning as they do. But it's been pretty exciting, and I'm glad that they're keeping this tradition going.
I'm going to ask you a tough question. Do you have a favorite kickoff or punt return? It's kind of like naming your favorite kid. If I have 4 kids and somebody says who's your favorite kid, which I do have different ones at different times. But do you have, if I said to you, Tim Dwight, what was your favorite kick return at the University of Iowa? Do you have one?
I mean, a touchdown as a kick return at Iowa. All my returns were punts.
Okay.
So our kick return game was not very good. I mean, we had the old wedge. Then we tried to do this interesting spinner, reverse thing, Hayden threw in during camp one year. That was kind of really challenging to do. So our kickoff return game was not that great. It's funny because then I go in the NFL and I have all these kickoff returns.
Yeah.
But no, so I never returned. It was all my punts. And, it's hard to say because they were against some, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. I mean, those top 3 teams that we always want to beat and be and be up with. There are different parts of the game too. Penn State was early. Michigan was at halftime, right before half. That was kind of a fun one. I mean, they were ranked number 1 in the country. We had them down 21-7.5 after that. That was a tough loss. But and then you got Ohio State trying to bring us back after that, my junior year when they won the national title, I think that year. So it's hard. They all have their own special moments, I think. So it's hard to say.
No,
the boring one, kind of like Minnesota, it was kind of up the middle. It was only like 50-some yards. And then the Indiana one was kind of a big one. But, that was Indiana at that time. Back when Indiana was, kind of depleted a little bit in their program.
Sure. No, I mean, before these last couple of years, Indiana was one of the worst Power 5 schools in football. And now, obviously, a different thing. I want to fast forward a little bit to today's day and age before I let you go, because obviously you're in Iowa City again, and you're kind of locked in and watching the Hawkeyes. 3-2, a bye week with Wisconsin coming up next. A couple close losses. Obviously, Iowa State, a 1-score game, and then of this past weekend at Indiana. They seem close. What is your thoughts on the first 5 games? Where do they need to be better in order to kind of take it up another level as they continue the drive the rest of the way?
Well, hopefully we can get Gronowski, number 11, back on the field. That's number 1. That's really important to have your starting quarterback healthy. And I haven't really, I don't watch it that detailed, so I don't know what was the the final injury that he had, but getting him back on the field, I think our run game is solid. We're looking good. We got nice backs. All 3 of our backs are really good. So they just need to see more time. Nice to maybe get the tight end involved a little bit more. We're tight end right? We got Kittle, we got Laporta, we got these guys. And I know that maybe we don't have some tight ends that are that caliber, but the tight end is a very important position, and he gets open a lot. Let's just be honest. Play action pass, we run the ball good. Should be a lot of balls at the tight end. Nobody really covers those guys a lot, and they're also in the middle of the field, so they can get open anywhere, right? When you're a receiver and you're stuck on one side and you're wide, you kind of cut down on a lot of routes you can run. But when you're on the inside, I played a lot of slot in the NFL, I could run almost all my routes. I could run any route across the field, vertical, posts, corners, seams, option routes underneath. So maybe involved in a little bit of that, but in the passing game, I think it's just a new quarterback getting into the system, and just we did push the ball down a little bit more down the field, but it'd be nice to take a little bit more shots, and it'd be nice to put Caden in the slot and run him some deep crossers or something and blow open the backside and kind of get him the ball in that way. But, I think our offense is growing, though. Like, we have 2 losses, but we lost to 2 teams that are top 10, right? Like, Iowa State's a top 10 team in Ames, and we lost by 3 points. And then we lose this game, which is a super close game, and we missed a field goal late in the game, and they get the ball back in decent position, and they had a really good wide receiver that made 2 great plays. He caught that big fade route, and then he beat our guy on the slant. And you're all blitz, right? So you got to live and die with that. And the guy made a play, and we didn't, and the game's over. But those are close ball games. I could see if we get blown out by both those teams, then we'd have some problems. But I think we're building our offense. We're building. Our defense has always been solid, right? But we got to keep them, and the key is to keep them off the field as long as possible. So we keep these sustained drives, and we're doing a good job of sustaining drives. Like, we have long play drives. It's just we need some big plays worked in there too as well. But I like where we're at. I think this loss, it was awful, but I think it showed that, like, we can play with anybody that's top 10, in my opinion. There's some teams like, Alabama and those teams and things like that. We'll see where those are. But where we're at and where we're in the Big Ten, I like. You don't never like to lose, but losing teaches you a lot about what you need to do. But I think we're on the right track with a lot of stuff, and it's fun to watch. So just getting some more people involved a little bit. Like, I think our tight end would be a good asset to kind of get the ball to a little bit more, and then it'd be one more person the defense would kind of have to worry about.
No, absolutely. I agree. I definitely agree. Tim Dwight joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Before I let you go, you have you played for the great Hayden Fry, and now the last 27 years, 26 years, whatever it's been Kirk Ferentz, and he just recently broke a record that a lot of people thought would ever be broken. I guess maybe first I want to talk to you about your thoughts on Kirk Ferentz and what he's done at the University of Iowa, college football. You were there, you were around the program, just leaving the program in the NFL when he came in to replace Hayden. When that hire was made back then, did you think you'd be talking to a goofball on a podcast show in a loft somewhere, but also, do you think that Kirk Ferentz would do what he did at the University of Iowa, and what's it meant? What's it like for you?
Well, that's a great question. He was kind of unknown, right? Like, he had a couple other coaches in there that had some history here at Iowa that thought they were going to kind of get the job, and Ferentz comes in, gives a great interview, and there was just something about, I think, the way he's gone about his business here at Iowa. It's very methodical. It's very, like, thought out. It's very, like, grinding. It's very quality players, kids that are going to be here long term, right? And his identity is just tough, hard-nosed football and play it the way it is. Not trying to trick anybody, not trying to, like, come up with fluke plays and do this. It's just like hard-nosed football. And it's been consistent for 20-some years. It's been an amazing ride. Yeah, we haven't competed for the number 1 shot like maybe Hayden did in '85. But here in Iowa, let's be honest, how many times we never did in the 90s, we had some good teams. But they've always been the bowl games. They've had 10-win seasons. How many guys are in the NFL? It's on and on. And so Ferentz has been incredible for this university. Yeah, some of us might be saying, we need more offense and blah, blah, blah. But we got a great defense. And not both teams can have both of that, right? You can't have both. So it's been a great ride, and especially from a guy that, like, from Iowa City and went to the university and played under Hayden and seen a new guy come in. You just don't know, how long coaches are going to stay around. They might say 10 years, they might say 5, they might have a good run. And the first 2 years was rebuilding for him. I think he went 1 game the first year, and then after that, I think it was like maybe 4 or so games. Then he went to a bowl game the third year maybe. And then after that, it's just been like building and building. And then 03 shows up, and, we're a top 5 team, winning the Big Ten, and it's just awesome. Yeah. So the consistency with him has been pretty, like, just unwavering of what he believes in and what he wants to do as a football coach. And it shows in his wins and losses, and it shows in how our program is one of the best programs in the Big Ten, as well as in college. Yeah, like I said, we might not be in the playoffs, but we're beating teams. We're winning ball games. 9 and 10 win seasons. I had a 7-5 season. That sucked. Like, we were 5-5-1 my freshman year. Would I love being 10-1 or 9-3? Yes, absolutely. Go to some of these other bowl games like Florida. We never played in Florida. We played in Texas. The Gator Bowl, the Outback Bowl, all these great bowl games, the Miami game they went to. So it's just been an amazing ride to watch this coach come in and, kind of pick up where a legend left off, right? Like a lot of expectations coming in as a new coach where we were kind of down in the mid-90s. We were decent. I mean, we weren't great. We weren't great, but we were decent. And then come in with, a roster that's kind of been depleted and a lot of good players have moved out. And then just going to work, and building your program and building what you believe in and getting great coordinators and getting great coaches to really channel through your energy and your vision of what Iowa football, is and wants to be. And we've had a lot of coaches stay around too. We went through some coordinators, which, that's normal. But over 26 years, I mean, wow. Having, 2D coordinators and a lot of the coaches have been around for at least some of them now 10 years.
Yeah.
It's pretty special to be Iowa Hawkeye under Kirk Ferentz.
Last one. I had dinner with Chuck Long, and you know Chuck very well, last week. And I love chatting with Chuck, and he has the best Hayden Fry stories. And he's a legend, and that's your guy. Do you have a go-to Hayden Fry story that when people talk to you about the old coach?
Unfortunately, it's not appropriate. I mean, we're in a podcast, so I guess it's a little different. But Brian Hurley was just over because Brian Hurley and Nick Gallery are doing these podcasts on players and stuff. So I've been kind of watching, and they've been asking me to come on. And I was like, Brian, one of the reasons why I've been kind of hesitant is because it's hard to look back, and see. And remember all these memories, because it's been a lot of teams I've been on, a lot of players. I mean, college is different because you're young, you're just coming into a whole new realm and people from all over the country you're meeting and your teams, your teammates with. So it sets in a little bit deeper and it's not a business like the league. Kind of evolving to that kind of, all this NIL and all this crazy stuff. But, we were playing Penn State my sophomore year and Penn State came into town and, they smacked us up pretty bad the year before out there in Happy Valley. And so Hayden just had this incredible speech about just stepping up and being a man. And the words he used, were just kind of like, tomorrow's the day you're going to have to drop it, right? Like, drop your manhood and let's get to work and let's play these guys and let's try to win. And it was one of the more, I wouldn't say motivating, but I don't know, just raw, motivational speeches that Hayden never had. That kind of stuck with me. And some of the words, I'm not going to use the words he used, but
I get you.
It was just hey, tomorrow you got to step up and be a man. Let's go. Drop your stuff and let's go. And you're just whoa, where's this coming from? Because, Hayden was pretty pulled back, pretty reserved a little bit as in unless it was in the moment in the game, he got excited about certain things. But other than that, he was a cool character, man. And it was kind of fun to see Coach kind of have that little insight of him of being a little nasty.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So many great Hayden Fry stories. We'll have you back on again, and we'll have some more. You and Chuck can come on together and tell Hayden Fry stories someday, and everybody will love it. Tim, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I appreciate it. There is the award named after you, the Dwight Johnny Rogers Return Specialist of the Year. Your legacy ain't going anywhere. You're a legend. We appreciate you doing it. I thank you for everything you do still with the Children's Therapy Center and the stuff that we kind of get to do together and all those kind of things. So I appreciate you. Best of luck with everything moving forward, and we'll talk again real soon. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate it.
That is the one and only Tim Dwight here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Really cool to have him take the time to stop by and chat about not just Caden and not just the Iowa football now, but Iowa football back in the day as well. So we got more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Wednesday here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak. with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss pre-arrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Pretty cool to have Tim Dwight on the show. Boy, I can remember him in 97 and in the mid-90s just doing amazing things for the Iowa football program. So we thank Tim Dwight once again. But we've got a busy show today. We kind of talked about it at the top. The Iowa Hawkeyes have a new prize recruit, and it has Iowa fans excited. We're buzzing on social media. It also has one man relieved a little bit. My good friend Kyle Huesman from the Hawkeye Report joins us. You've had this called for a while. I don't want to make you do the victory lap. I'll do the victory lap for you. You got it right, my friend. McKenna Woliczko is officially an Iowa Hawkeye. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And you mentioned it, kind of relieved. I mean, it's interesting because we had the timeline of how we thought it was going to kind of play out, and as you know, with recruitment of any sport, it doesn't always go to plan, and sometimes things stretch out a little bit, and certainly with this high level of a recruit, with how high McKenna's ranked in the On3 rankings up there at 6th in the country, people start to get a little anxious. Did something change? NIL money, stuff like that. So there was a lot of anxiety with the fan base over the last couple of weeks, but the way it's going on social media right now, it's pretty incredible, just the reaction to everything right now. But yeah, it's been a busy morning for me, but it's really been a busy last couple of weeks, just trying to make sure that I have all the information correct. But yeah, it is nice to see it go official now and know that Tom and I had the right prediction.
She's somebody who's visited Iowa City. You had kind of as a projecting to go to Iowa. It's a big-time recruit. I think Rivals has her number 6 in the country. Take me through this, what it means to the University of Iowa to get this recruit at this time. With this head coach, I think is kind of the main thing I look at, too. It's kind of her first huge hit on the recruiting tail. What does this mean for the University of Iowa?
Yeah, I think you really summed it up perfectly there. I mean, you go back and look at all the stepping stones to this moment, whether it's, a Megan Gustafson or a Kathleen Doyle, kind of those ones that got kind of those first couple of big years. Megan Gustafson made an Elite Eight with Iowa and won National Player of the Year. Then you get Caitlin Clark and obviously all that she was able to do and make a couple of Final Fours. And really the players that she had around her. I know that Caitlin's obviously the big one with, being one of the best, if not the best college basketball players of all time. But the players, whether it's a Kate Martin or a Gabby Marshall or, Monica Sonano or McKenna Warnock, that group that really turned the Iowa program into one of the more popular ones in all of women's basketball. Then, Lisa Bluter was able to land Addie Deal. That was obviously a huge commitment, top 15, top 20 player in the country. But as you mentioned, Jan Jensen's the head coach now, and you had the stepping stone with Caitlin to get you to a couple Final Fours, and then that allowed you to potentially get the Addie Deal commitment. But Jan had not had that big breakthrough commit yet. Obviously she got Layla Hayes last year, who's as everything that we know right now is going to be a really good center as a backup this coming season, and then maybe down the road as a starter for this team. So that was a big commitment. But this is the one that Jan gets her first real big one. It shows the rest of the country and shows other players out there that Jan can recruit at a high level, and that she convinced McKenna that Iowa is the program that can get back to the Final Four, that it wasn't just because of Caitlin that they made a couple of Final Fours. And I think that's the big thing, is that she was able to convince a high-level 5-star recruit that they can get back to that point. Because McKenna, her plans are to potentially win a national title in college, play at a school for 4 years, and then go to the WNBA. And I think we've talked about it a little bit before. You look at school like a UConn or a South Carolina. South Carolina was in it to the very end for McKenna. Those are programs that have that tangible evidence, the national titles, the year after year Final Fours. You look at that as a high level recruit and you say, if I go to a South Carolina or I go to a UConn, I will probably make 3, probably maybe even 4 Final Fours, might win a couple of national titles. That's hard to say no to. And it's really impressive that Jan and the rest of this coaching staff was able to sell McKenna on the Iowa program and say, we can get back to that level that we were at a couple of years ago. It wasn't just Caitlin. We have a plan for this program to get back to that level. And I think that's the biggest thing, is you need that first person, kind of back like when Caitlin was the one to commit to the program and say, hey, I feel like I can help take Iowa to the Final Four. Jan needed that player, the first one to jump in and say, I feel like Iowa can do this with this coaching staff. So just really a home run commitment.
Kyle Huesman from the Hawkeye Report joining me right now and off the air with Matt Randazzo. Tell us about McKenna. What is Iowa getting? Obviously, people look at the rankings. I know Rivals had her at number 6, and I used to be kind of still am a rankings dork when it comes to those kind of things. But give us what she looks like, where she fit into what they do positionally and all those kind of things. Tell us about McKenna.
Yeah, I think she's going to fit in almost perfectly into what Iowa wants to do. The last couple of years, kind of that thing that Iowa's been maybe looking for is that stretch 4 that can, really can play kind of that 4 position, get down and guard, maybe a bigger player on the defensive side, get some block shots, rebound really well. But then on the offensive side, really fill that mold as a stretch 4, which means being able to dribble drive from the 3-point line, being able to play inside if you need to against, maybe post up in a certain situation, and then knock down the 3-pointer. And Iowa, to an extent, maybe with McKenna Warnock a few years ago, a solid rebounder, could really shoot the 3-ball well. And then, the last couple of years, it's been kind of trying to find that right position. Sita Fulter played it a little bit. Kate Martin played the 4 a little bit. But McKenna's very different in the fact that she has the size of a 4. She rebounds very, very well for a power forward. But she's working on being able to hit that 3-pointer, and that's an area of her game that she's really tried to work on over the last couple of years. Certainly, obviously, with the ACL injury, had her out for a while. But the perimeter shooting and being able to drive from the perimeter is something that she's really able to do. And I think that stretch 4 player is really what Iowa has been looking for. And maybe Hannah Stolke can fill that role a little bit better this year. She obviously had a full offseason to improve her game and potentially become that type of player. But I think, obviously Hannah's going to graduate after this year, and your power forward position is going to be open for a new player to come in and fill. And I think McKenna comes in right away and fits that mold perfectly with her ability to get on the glass like a Hannah Stolke does. To be able to defend a true power forward with her size at 6'2", but then on the offensive side, her ability to handle the ball. You put a bigger defender on her, she can dribble drive from the 3-point line or shoot it from the 3-point line and play on the perimeter. But then you put a smaller defender on it that's maybe quicker, that can maybe shut down that dribble drive ability, and McKenna can go handle that mismatch and go post up in the paint or kind of use that physicality to go score on a smaller defender. So I think when you look at a true stretch 4, which I know a lot of fans have really been clamoring about the last couple of years. That's what Iowa needs. I think McKenna really fits that mold of what fans have been looking for Iowa at the power forward position.
Kyle, when you look at the reaction on social media, it's pretty cool. And it's funny because, and I tell people all the time, like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, like it wasn't this way. And so big picture, I think it's cool, but this fan base is super excited today. kind of talk about what you've seen. It's only been 40 minutes since she made the announcement, but this fan base is as fired up as ever. And I don't remember seeing an Iowa commit in a while that's, I know it's a small sample size, has this type of buzz and energy when it comes to come to Iowa City.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, I didn't cover the women's basketball team when Caitlin committed to Iowa. I would assume that the social media reaction, the excitement about that was up there as well. But I mean, you don't even have to look at today and the commitment decision. Just look at our message board. I mean, our thread that we started when Tom and I put in our prediction. What was that? Almost a month ago now. And that message board thread had like 30 pages. I mean, people just every day trying to come in and see if there's any type of information. And a lot of that, there wasn't much there in terms of just people hoping that there was going to be some new news. But I mean, the fact that there were that many people that interested, that were checking that thread over and over every day to see if there was any tidbit of information. You're right. I don't think that would have been happening 10 years ago, which is unfortunate because the Iowa women's basketball program and other programs across the country certainly had recruits back then that were worthy of that type of excitement. But yeah, I mean, it's been pretty incredible. I haven't, since I've jumped on the show now, I haven't checked my phone. It seems to be lighting up here every few seconds. So the reaction has been pretty incredible though. And I felt like that's kind of going to be the case when it happened. And also it helps that the excitement when it stretches out a little bit longer. And like I said, the people get a little anxious and then finally you see that breaking news commitment flash across. But yeah, the reaction has been incredible, and I've heard rumors that, and I don't know if it's been publicized, if it's been posted yet, but it sounds like Iowa's getting close, if not already done, that they're going to sell out season tickets again. So just incredible the support that this women's basketball team has gotten the last 4 or 5 years, and really before that because the fan base has always been great. But yeah, just incredible to see the social media reaction to this, and certainly something that's going to help the fan base continue to grow. To maybe those people that started out as Iowa football fans or Iowa men's basketball fans. Certainly we've seen a lot of people jump onto the Iowa women's basketball train. And I think a commitment like this certainly helps grow that fan base even bigger.
Kyle, everybody wants to know what's next. So I'll ask the question when it comes to recruiting, what's next? And so it's funny because you get like the biggest, is it the biggest recruit, the highest rated recruit in Iowa history? Does she beat Caitlin, or is Caitlin still, when it comes to numbers, or does it matter? Yeah,
so it's interesting because you go back a couple of years. Caitlin was number 4 in the ESPN rankings. On3 did not have rankings at that time. So Caitlin was number 4 in the ESPN rankings. McKenna's number 6 in the On3 Rivals rankings. Then you'd have to go back to Samantha Logic, was number 10 in the ESPN rankings when she came to Iowa. And then Addie Deal, of course, it was number 14 or 15. I can't remember right off the top of my head on the On3 Rivals rankings. So already a really highly rated recruit on the roster there. But yeah, McKenna would be the second highest rated recruit of all time. And I think that kind of goes back to what I said earlier. I mean, you look at a program like a UConn or a South Carolina, they're getting those players consistently. Players in the top 10, top 15 every year. They're getting 1 or 2 of them every year. So it kind of goes back to what this coaching staff was able to do. When you say, we've had 2 top 10 recruits all time, Caitlin and Samantha Logic, those players turned out pretty well. But you have to convince McKenna Woliczko that she can, come in and maybe that she is only just the 3rd top 10 recruit of all time, but that there's a plan in place for her to have maybe a similar career to those other 2 players. But yeah, I mean, that just shows the importance of this commitment, that she is the 2nd highest rated recruit of all time and just the 3rd top 10 recruit of all time.
Well, Kyle, if you're wondering about numbers, and I track them every once in a while on this, but there's almost 1,500 people watching the show right now. And God bless me, wow. But I don't think that's usually the number at this time. It's not bad, but it's not usually this. So obviously Iowa fans really excited about what's going on. I don't know if I kind of hijacked my question about one with the ratings thing, but what's next? Is it too early to be like, is that too greedy to like ask what's next? Or because this can have a trigger effect. I know it affects positions and probably eliminates some because of landing somebody at a certain position, but when a big recruit goes to a school, other recruits probably got to take notice in that, don't they?
Yeah, and I think in terms of the 2026 class in particular, I mean, we're getting real close to the early signing period in the early to mid-November. I think it's like the 12th is the first day of the early signing period. So in terms of the 2026 class, if those players want to sign at the early signing period, that class is going to have to finish up here soon. So the question of who's next or when might that happen. If I was going to get another commit in this class, I feel like it's going to be within the next month or so. I think the first player that you look at would be Vienna Murray. Came on an official visit a couple weeks ago out of Minnesota. Has a couple of, I think she's in the process of still finishing up her official visits. Someone that I always had a relationship for a couple of years now. She's the cousin of Megan Gustafson. I think maybe a little bit of an underrated player, not rated in the On3 Rivals rankings, not rated by ESPN. There's a couple of other sites that have her ranked in the top 50. But I think she's someone that I was certainly in on right now. And then obviously you got Jenica Lewis and Amari Biles, who still have official visits coming here at the end of October. So those are your three players right now that you're looking at. And obviously Jenica Lewis has been someone that's had a relationship with Iowa for a long time. I think the biggest thing right now, and certainly Addison Bjorn. Sorry, I just completely missed her. Busy morning, so I knew I was going to miss something there. But Addison Bjorn just visited this past weekend. So her and Amari Biles are kind of the two, three, the position at that three position Addison took the official visit, and Amari Biles will be taking hers at the end of October. And then the two guards would be Vienna Murray and Jenica Lewis. I think that maybe they would be open to taking both guards, Murray and Lewis, if it came down to it. I don't know that they would take both Biles and Bjorn. Maybe they could. You certainly want good depth, but just kind of looking at the roster and how that would shake out. Obviously you still have Emily Rodriguez on the roster. She's only a sophomore. She's going to play that small forward position. Addie Deal can certainly play all three guard spots. So she's got some versatility there. You got like Taylor Stremlow's on the roster. Journey Houston's a true freshman that kind of fits that spot as well. I do think Addison Bjorn could play the 4 as well, which, like I said, is where McKenna Woliczko is going to play. But she does have some versatility where I think she could play the 3 and the 4. So I don't really have an answer for your question in terms of who is next, who that is going to be. But I think those 4 are kind of what you're looking at right now. And again, the official visits are starting to wrap up. Addison Bjorn's still got a couple left. Like I said, I think Vienna Murray is probably the closest in terms of wrapping up her official visits. I know she said that she had told me that she wants to make a decision in early October. So we are in October. Today is October 1st. So maybe within the next couple of weeks for her, we'll have to check in and see if that timeline is still on track to be in early October. But like I said, the classes, if they want to get committed by that early November signing period, it's going to be within the next month that you're going to see those commitments come, whether they're to Iowa or others. But this is something that Iowa women's basketball fans have to get used to. Up until today's October 1st, and they just got their first commit for the 2026 class. That's pretty uncommon for Iowa women's basketball to go that long with no one on the board. You talk about like someone like Hannah Stolke, and I know she's from Cedar Rapids, but committed as a freshman in high school. Kylie Levine committed as a freshman in high school. Journey Houston committed pretty early. So some of those players that maybe in state or some others that have committed early, if you're going after these high level 4 stars and your 5 stars, they're going to want to take every single official visit and do what a McKenna Woliczko did, which is take that little extra bit of time to make sure you're making the right decision, which sometimes means going into October without any commits. So I don't expect this to be a unique year. If Iowa wants to recruit at this level, it's going to be a year in, year out thing, unless you're going to hit a year every so often where someone's going to commit a little bit earlier. But I think for the most part, it's going to be just like this, where you get into an October and you're still waiting for people to finish up official visits. And it's going to be a little scary, but that's just kind of the way it goes with high level recruiting.
No, absolutely. It's a good problem to have if you're the University of Iowa, when you have to decide if you want to take 1 or 2 4 or 5-star recruits at a certain position. That'd be a good problem to have. Kyle Huesman joining me right now and off the air with Matt Randazzo. While I got you here, the season is right around the corner. We're gonna have Josh Sash on the show tomorrow. The assistant basketball coach for the men. The women are right around the corner as well. They've started practice. This is exciting, but we get to start talking basketball soon. I saw that Coach Jensen's taking Hannah and I can't remember Hannah. No, who else is going to Media Day? Kylie Feuerbach is going there as well. They just announced that yesterday.
I was gonna say I haven't looked this morning. Did that come out this morning?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it might have been this morning. Yeah, I think it was this morning. But anyways, with that being said, what are your early thoughts on headlines to be looking for in November when it comes to this team and what it'll look like on the floor itself, with several new faces that figure to make an impact?
Yeah, I think there's several headlines to look at. And I think the first thing is you look at it and see that there's 9 underclassmen on this team, and some of them have played college basketball at Iowa, whether it be a Taylor Stremlow or Ava Heiden's gonna certainly be in the starting lineup this year. Some of those younger players that have played last year. There's some underclassmen on this roster that have played basketball at other schools with Emily Rodriguez and Chit Chat Wright. Some underclassmen that have not played college basketball at all, with Addie Deal and with Layla Hayes and with Journey Houston. So they've got a lot of young players that are really still learning the college basketball game. Still trying to figure out what they're going to be at the collegiate level. And then you do, as you mentioned, there's a couple of veterans on this roster with Hannah Stolke and with Kylie Fearback, and certainly Taylor McCabe as well. So they've got a couple of veterans to kind of lead the way. But I think the interesting thing with that many underclassmen and a lot of them have high ceilings as players too, right? I mean, they're not underclassmen that you don't think are going to end up having big parts going forward. I think they're all underclassmen that you feel like can contribute at a high level. But what you look at is with that many underclassmen, there could be some big jumps from players. I mean, what does Emily Rodriguez look like in year 2 as a college basketball player? I feel like she's going to be. I've said it for a while that I feel like she's going to be a really big addition for this team, kind of filling that Sita Fulter role in terms, maybe not from a leadership standpoint, but from an on the court standpoint at that small forward position. What does Chit Chat Wright look like in year 2 as a college basketball player after starting some games down the stretch at point guard for a Georgia Tech team that made the NCAA tournament? What does Addie Deal look like right out of the gates? How quickly does she catch on to the physicality of the college game? I know a lot of people feel good, and I feel good as well that she's going to fit in right away and be able to play at a high level. What does Taylor Stremlow look like in year 2? What does Ava Heiden look like moving into the starting lineup? I know the very end of her season last year, the postseason run that she had, got a lot of people excited. It's just a lot of players that maybe had flashes as a freshman, or maybe down the stretch of their freshman year showed some things. And when does it click for them? When does everything slow down? When do they make that big jump? That's why I feel like the ceiling for this team could be really high, just because what happens if it really slows down for Chit Chat Wright and all of a sudden, really good already last year with assist to turnover ratio, took care of the ball really well. What if it clicks for her in terms of scoring the basketball and she's all of a sudden a really good 3-point shooter? Already shot it pretty well last year, but what if she can make 53s in a season? What if Emily Rodriguez really fits in right away at the small forward position? What if Taylor Stremlow takes a step on the court? We already feel like she's going to be a good leader. What if she takes a step in on-court ability? What if Ava Heiden fills the mold that everybody thinks she can be? And you even talk about some of the returning players. What about Hannah Stolke? What if Hannah Stolke hasn't been able to figure it out and she can play that power forward position and really mesh well with Ava Heiden on the court? There's a lot of things that I feel like are possible with this team, and that's why I feel like the ceiling is really high. Early in the year, it'll be interesting just to see how some of those new pieces, gel with the current team. And like I said, with underclassmen, there's going to be a few bumps in the road, I feel like, early in the year. But by the time you get to Big Ten play, I feel like this team has a chance to really get things rolling, kind of like last year, but maybe earlier in terms of when they get things rolling. But I'm really excited about this team because I think they've got a lot of really good players. Like I said, I think the biggest thing with this team is Hannah Stolke and Ava Heiden in that front court. Can they play power forward and center and be on the floor at the same time and have it work? Last year we saw at times with Hannah at the power forward it didn't work as well, and they had to move her back to center. Can she move to the power forward position and play it at the level that they want her to play at that spot? I think that's the biggest key. But then 3-point shooting is something that I feel like there's going to be a couple players that are going to have to hit a few more this year to kind of get near the level that they were at last year, because certainly you lost Sita Fulter, you lost Lucy Olson, who made a bunch of threes. Obviously, you still got Taylor McCabe back, so that helps. But yeah, a lot of headlines with this team will be interesting. Media days in a couple weeks now, we'll get to talk with all the players, with all the coaches, and kind of get their thoughts. But I think to a certain extent, they're still kind of waiting to see how things happen. We talked in here. I had my sit down with Jan, and she said, I still need to see some practice and see about a month of scrimmaging to feel like what I've really got with this team. So they're still trying to figure some things out, but I'm really excited about this team. I think they can, maybe have a better record than last season, and certainly better finish than 11th place. Crazy that they finished 11th last year. And we're still a pretty good team. Finished as a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament and finished 11th in the Big Ten. But I certainly feel like the ceiling for this team is high. It'll just be interesting to see how all those pieces fit together, how quickly they gel, and if those pieces fit together in the way that we feel like they can.
Kyle, I want to talk to you about the Fever before I let you go, but I have to ask you, is there a starting lineup for Iowa in your head already when it comes to this year's team, or is it still too many parts, too many pieces? Where does Addie Deal play? those kind of things. Emily Rodriguez. It's fascinating to me that probably two of the better or best players on the team are players that Iowa fans have never seen play. When it comes to Addie Deal and Emily Rodriguez, you could get tape on Emily and all that, and Addie too, obviously. But where does this starting lineup start? I think Coach Jensen and everyone will figure that out in the next week. But in your eyes, what's the starting five at the University of Iowa right now?
Yeah, I think, like I said, with the front court, I think it's going to be Hannah at the 4, that power forward position, and Ava Hayden at the 5 at center. I think that's your starting front court. And like I said, I think there's the potential that works out, but a lot of it is centered on if Hannah can play the perimeter. Can she shoot the mid-range jumper? Can she shoot a few three-pointers? They've posted a couple of practice videos that I've seen Hannah knock down a three-pointer. They're getting that out there.
Yeah.
But then at kind of at that backcourt, I think Chit Chat Wright's going to be your starting point guard. And then I would go with Kylie Fierbach and Addie Deal right now, whichever one plays the 2 or the 3. I don't think that matters. I think Addie Deal could play all 3 guard spots. So I think they have the versatility there. I would lean towards Kylie Fierbach right now because of what she can do on the defensive end of the floor. Certainly the offensive side, she showed a little bit down the stretch last season, a little bit more consistency on the offensive end. I think if she can take that consistency from end of last year and put it on the court this year, I think she would be your starter just because of what she can do defensively. We saw how many times last year where she set the tone defensively on the other team's best guard. I firmly believe that Iowa does not beat USC if she does not have the impact that she did on Juju Watkins early in that game. I mean, Iowa was up like 20-2. Yeah. I don't think that happens if Kylie Fierbach's coming off the bench and you bring her in 5 minutes into the game. I just don't think that's how that plays out. She did a really good job against, I believe it was Olivia Olson that she guarded for Michigan. Throughout the season, had games where she set the tone defensively against the other team's best guard. And that's why I would keep her in the starting lineup, just because if you bring her off the bench 5 minutes into the game, that's 5 minutes of the game that the other team's best player, whether it's a guard or whatever, has a chance to settle in and hit some early shots and maybe give that team some early momentum. Not to say that Iowa has bad defenders outside of Kylie, but I think what she can do and how she does it at such a high level, I think having her in the starting lineup allows her to set the tone defensively against that of the team's best player. But I do think right now it would be between Kylie Fierbach and Emily Rodriguez, who gets the final starting spot there. And some of that goes down to, does the coaching staff want to structure the starting lineup like an actual starting lineup with Chit Chat at the 1, with Addie Deal at the shooting guard position as a 2. And then if you're looking for a small forward, Emily Rodriguez is a small forward. She fits the size and kind of what she can do in terms of playing, both inside and outside. I think she fits, kind of exactly what I said with Sita Fulter, kind of that similar mold of what you look for in a small forward. That doesn't mean she has to be the starting small forward, but if the coaching staff wants to go with exactly the player that exactly fits that position name, I think Emily Rodriguez would be your starter. But like I said, I would lean towards Kylie Fierbach right now. That's the biggest question for me, is whether it's Kylie or Emily Rodriguez. And then certainly you talk about Taylor McCabe, and she started how many games last year? 19 or 20 of them. We're not even talking about her in the starting lineup conversation. And I don't think she starts. I think she'll come off the bench, but she's someone's got to play a ton of minutes as well. I mean, almost made 73s last year. With some of the three-point shooting that they lost, I mean, she's got to be getting a ton of minutes again to try to get to that 65, 70, maybe even 70-plus threes this season. So I think they've got a lot of pieces. There's some players that we haven't even really talked about yet. But I think that would be my starting 5 right now. It would be Chit Chat Wright, Addie Deal, Kylie Fierbach, Hannah Stolke, and Ava Hayden.
It's a good problem to have when you have all of those pieces to put together. Kyle, you and I both projected the Indiana Fever to win the WNBA championship, and I don't think we have anything. You got one right when it came to McKenna. We got that one wrong, but I think with everything they went through, and to watch last night, eliminated by the Aces in Game 5, so it'll be the Aces and the Mercury for the WNBA championship coming up. And it was almost fitting, awful to see, but that the injury happens last night as well. That team continued to play well despite injury, despite, obviously Caitlin being out and Cunningham being out. And then last night to see Kelsey Mitchell go down. Your thoughts on the Fever and what they did this season, knowing that they got 3 players, and I just mentioned, that'll make an instant impact, obviously, next year when they get healthy.
Yeah, I think I think to say that we were wrong with our prediction is kind of unfair to us, right? I mean, I don't think we got a fair shake with our prediction, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, how many
we were
games
almost
did Caitlin
right
play?
despite everything. We were almost right despite everything.
Yeah, that's the crazy part is had they pulled that out last night, we still would have gotten it right that they made the WNBA finals. So I don't think it's fair to say that we were wrong necessarily, because the team that played last night, the team that played in overtime last night was not the team that we predicted to win the WNBA finals. So I think we should get a pass on that one. But yeah, what they were able to do with that many injuries, I mean, they were showing them during the beginning of the playoffs. They're saying like, here are a couple, Ari McDonald and like Sid Colton are sitting in the crowd because they don't have enough bench spots for all these players. Like Sophie Cunningham was sitting in the crowd. I think it was their first playoff game, was sitting in the crowd, like in the first row. It was crazy to see all the injuries that they had. And certainly with Caitlin only playing, I mean, I don't even know how many games she played, less than half the season. That was already a giant blow. But I mean, to look at they brought in Ari McDonald to fill her spot, and then she got hurt. But the team never quit. I mean, you look at those rosters, the Aces and the Fever, and what the Fever played with against the Aces. And no disrespect to the players that the Fever had. There's no reason why that series should have went 5. There's no reason that series should have went to overtime in Game 5.
Yeah.
But they just continued to fight, continued to claw their way through. And I mean, you mentioned the kind of fitting in a bad way that Kelsey Mitchell gets hurt and you lose another player. But the fact that they were still able to force overtime, I mean, they were down by 8 or 9 points in the fourth quarter there, and were able to find a way, even through Kelsey getting injured, to force overtime. So I mean, you just have to tip your cap to the players that came in, players that didn't even start the season, weren't even there at the halfway point of the season, that managed to get the Fever on the brink of the WNBA finals. I mean, pretty incredible. Had they made the finals, I think that would have been it still might be one of the better stories in WNBA history to go through all the things that they went through. And some of those players that started the season thinking they might not even play a single WNBA game. And then all of a sudden the Fever have 3 or 4 of them on the roster. And what they were able to do to get it to that point last night was pretty incredible. But yeah, certainly, hopefully they can be healthy next year and have a chance to have a Sophie Cunningham and a Caitlin Clark on the floor, and with an Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell and Ari McDonald, certainly someone that made a case to stick around. There's going to be, I think the thing that I was talking with a couple other people, the thing that's kind of crazy is that there's an expansion draft coming up, and maybe players that won't stick around with the Fever, but like an Odyssey Sims, the opportunity that she got, she may have just changed her entire career.
1000%.
She might be picked in the expansion draft.
Yep.
And the Fever the Fever aren't going to be able to keep every single player that's on their roster. They're going to have to put players out to potentially get drafted in the expansion draft. And I think Odyssey Sims will be one of those players, but she may have just changed her entire career, where she starts the season thinking, am I going to get picked up? Am I going to play one of those contracts where I get in a couple of games and then they release me? Do I get a couple of practices and they release me? And all of a sudden, when that expansion draft rolls around, you might hear Odyssey Sims' names, announced. So pretty incredible what the Fever had. I mean, obviously the injuries are bad, but it gave some great opportunities to some players that may have changed their careers, which is really exciting.
Kyle, before I let you go, I'm reloading next year. I'm predicting them to win it won't be as big of a thing, because I think a lot of people will be on Indiana to win the WNBA championship next year. I thought the foul calls, and I'm not a bashing officials type of guy. I'm really not in any sport, but the Aaliyah Boston fouls were and that one late. I mean, just to call that at that point of the game was wild to me. Which brings me to my last point with you. Napheesa Collier was very, and I thought she did it in an amazing way, in a professional way, very critical of what's going on in that league with their commissioner and the things that need to be changed. I applauded it. I think she's right. Your thoughts on her statement yesterday and where this league goes from there, because they got Kyle Huesman and Matt Randazzo talking about the WNBA right now. You told me that 5 years ago, I would have said you're crazy. And they have an opportunity, but they got to fix some things, and a lot of things, don't they?
Yeah, and I was trying to pull it up as you were talking just to see all the stuff that Napheesa Collier said. Yeah, I mean, we could talk about it for a while. Some of the stuff that she said was told to her is pretty mind-blowing to me. I mean, Napheesa Collier, very controversial call, no call in the Mercury Lynx game, and Collier gets hurt. Collier says she tore ligaments in her ankle during that game during during that series because of whatever the physicality of the game. And then the commissioner of the league, Kathy Engelbert, turns around and tells Nafisha Collier, who, as I said, has torn ligaments in her ankle from the physicality of the games, tells her only losers complain about the refs.
Yeah.
That I don't even know how to discuss that.
And I don't know
that the commissioner of the league.
She said context. She's like, the commissioner stated like she was what context can you not put that in? You know what I mean? Like there's no other context to put that statement in. Go ahead. I'm sorry to jump in.
There's no single context where that's okay.
Yeah.
Nafisha Collier is she didn't win MVP, but she is an MVP caliber player. One of your star players in the league. She tore ligaments in her ankle, got injured in the final game of the series on what she thought was a foul call, and comes to you saying, we need to make this better. One of your star players in the league comes to you and says, the officiating is not good enough. This needs to be better. And you tell her that only losers complain about the refs. Yeah. That is just mind-boggling to me. And that's not even talking about what she said about Caitlin. The fact that Collier says that Engelbert told her that Caitlin Clark should be grateful for the WNBA because the league is responsible for her sponsorship deals.
And making $16
which
million
isn't even true.
Yeah.
It's just not true. That's just not true at all.
She could have stayed at Iowa.
You know how many sponsorship deals she had at Iowa that were there before? I don't even know how she said I'm at a loss for words. I can't even say a sentence right now because I don't understand how you can even say that. And good on Collier for putting that out there. Yes. I think that's absolutely something that has to be put out there.
Kyle, she did it the right way. She didn't sit there.
She didn't tweet it out and say, guess what? She did. She definitely was reading from something during that press conference.
Which you can.
But that's absolutely something that has to be out there to say, not only was this said about the refs to me, but here's what she's saying about our other star players. Stuff that's just not true.
Yeah. You want to stay on script. You do that without a statement and you go all over the place and you get lost. I mean, I thought she did a great job with it. I don't know how that commissioner continues in this league, but that's going to be a big focus now when we're going into a finals between the Mercury and the Aces, and a lot of stars in those games as well, and a lot of players that have been stars in this league for a long time. And now everybody's talking about something different. So it'll be an interesting week. I will say this, Kyle, before I let you go, the Fever just tweeted out 39 minutes ago, Kelsey Mitchell experienced extreme cramping in her lower body during the third quarter of our game with the Vegas Aces last night. She was transported to a local hospital where she was treated and released Tuesday night. Mitchell will remain under supervision of the Fever medical team and is expected to make a full recovery. So it looks like it's nothing crazy or major. Obviously took her out of one of the biggest games of the year, and you can easily say if she doesn't get hurt, if she doesn't have cramps, they probably win that game. She's their best player, and she's been one of the best players in the league this year. So it's crazy the amount of wins and the success they had with everything. They went that way. So Kyle, this has been a bunch of fun. Go ahead.
I'm really happy to hear that for Kelsey because she went down with the injury, and Brian Rucco and Rebecca Lobo were saying, we've got people telling us that it's just cramps.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, like that's okay. Maybe she can come back in the game. I mean, I'm thinking about football players cramp all the time. Basketball players cramp all the time. You stretch them out, they get back in the game. And then all of a sudden, they go to commercial, they come back, and they've got people with towels all around. She's down. I'm like, this didn't sound like cramping anymore. They brought out the stretcher for her.
Yeah.
And I was like, this isn't. I thought she like tore something. Like I thought she like really hurt her leg, like tore ACL or Achilles or something. Because I was like, you don't bring out a stretcher for someone that's cramping. So I was really worried that they were wrong with that initial saying that she was just cramping. But yeah, I don't know what extreme cramping is, but I mean, to be almost carried off the floor and at one point have the stretcher out there, that's incredible that's what all that was, because I thought it was way worse. But certainly that's great because, if she tore an Achilles or tore an ACL or something, she's done next year.
Yeah.
So certainly that she's going to make a full recovery is great, and that'll be a big piece that they'll have next season.
Kyle, make sure you tell the delivery guys that you're on the air with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, and there's a huge Iowa breaking news story, and they keep it down a little bit. Don't they realize? Aren't they watching it in their car?
Can you hear that out there?
A little bit. It's a little ever so often.
I live right next to the Coralville Fire Department, so they've had a couple of trucks that just got back from somewhere. They're backing up.
you get this prediction wrong, and you're going to have people right next to you wanting to know what's going on. So, Kyle, I appreciate it. Tell people you got a lot of stuff up online right now. I want to push everybody to that as fast as possible because you guys have had this thing on lockdown from the jump. So how can people get the McKenna coverage and more from you guys?
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, at our website, HawkeyeReport.com with On3, and then my Twitter, I obviously post all my articles at Huesman Kyle. I think probably the most interesting article that I have up right now is I got a chance to talk with Archbishop Mitty head coach Sue Phillips several weeks ago now. Just kind of was just a just in case call, just plays out, and talked to her for about 20 minutes. Got some, just talked with obviously someone that has coached her for several years and got some quotes about her as, what she is as a player on and off the court and, what she can do and asked some questions about what she thinks, McKenna can do at the collegiate level. So certainly that's the one up there right now that has some good quotes about McKenna and her game. And, certainly, not just women's basketball, like you said, the season's coming up soon. So there's going to be, like I said, media days in a couple of weeks. We'll get to talk to all the players, all the coaches. So there'll be plenty from that. And before you know it, we'll be talking about season prediction articles and breaking every game down. And that's a month away from that. And, I'll throw in the other sports as well. Certainly football and then men's basketball will be ramping up the same way that women's basketball will be. But, here in just about an hour, I'm going over to the field hockey field to talk with Coach Lisa Salucci and a couple of players. They're ranked number 10 in the country. They got number 1 Northwestern coming out to Grant Field on Friday. So everybody's excited about women's basketball. They got a huge game on Friday for field hockey, and soccer certainly is still ranked in the top 25. So those are kind of the things that I'm going on right now. Everybody's excited about women's basketball, but field hockey and soccer, and certainly baseball as well. Just played the other day, fall game. They got Missouri on Saturday in a big 18 inning fall exhibition. Oh, so yeah, certainly go for the women's basketball coverage. There's a lot up there with McKenna Woliczko, but field hockey, soccer, baseball, I've got all that too. And Tom and Blair and Tanner as well with his wrestling coverage. So we've got almost all the bases covered. As many bases covered as we could with the people that we have. So, tons of coverage from us going forward. It's certainly with basketball season coming up, it'll really ramp up from here.
You're killing it. I tell people all the time, Tom Kakert is the face of the Hawkeye Report, the ugly face of the Hawkeye Report, but Kyle and Blair and Tanner and everyone else, Dennis behind the scene, they are the motor that keeps that thing running. So, Kyle, I appreciate you. We'll catch up again real soon. Take care, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right, that is Kyle Huesman with a lot to talk about today. Great stuff from him. Big news. McKenna Woliczko is officially an Iowa Hawkeye, ranked 6th by Rivals in the country, and she officially made that announcement at 10 a.m. I know she's having a press conference late this afternoon, so go check out all Kyle's coverage on the Hawkeye Report, his Twitter, and all those kind of things, and then go back later because there'll be much more as you hear from her and all those kind of things. But an exciting time, and as Kyle mentioned, it's a big recruit for Iowa, a big recruit for Coach Jensen to have that marquee recruit under her belt now at the University of Iowa. We got more to get to. We're just getting warmed up. Coming up after the break, it's Wednesday. That means it's Ness Guess Wednesday. We will get you set. We'll look back at last week's winners, and we'll get you set for the week ahead when it comes to Ness Guess and a bunch more. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a busy Wednesday right here in the Quad Cities. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need Mobile Party Experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your Mobile Party Experience today.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Usually we're out at one of our favorite Hungry Hobos for our Ness Guest segment. And we actually did that yesterday. On Tuesday at 4 o'clock, we did it. And technology got the best of me. And so I had to call Mark Nessler and say, Ness, remember that little punk kid that used to screw things up and always bug you and annoy you? Well, he's back again, and he messed up the Ness Guest, but we can always do it again. And look, to prove that we were at Hungry Hobo, there you go.
I still have the cup. I figured I had to pull it out. But I figured I needed a prop.
Yeah.
And so now I have the prop. Hungry Hobo, thank you for sponsoring Ness Guests.
Yeah. No, we could not do this without Ness, of course, but without Hungry Hobo. So we thank them. We loved the Rock Island Hungry Hobo on Tuesday afternoon. It was fantastic, and we'll be back at a Hungry Hobo next week. But we got a lot to talk about because, first and foremost, thank you to everybody who's getting involved. If no one knows what Ness Guest is, shame on you. For almost 40 years, Mark Nessler, a legendary sports writer here in the Quad Cities, did a Ness Guest, and it was as popular as ever. And when I started this thing, I said, Ness, let's bring it back. And you said, I don't know.
I didn't really, you had to twist my arm, that's for sure.
I did. And I think,
but now I'm so happy because it's so much fun.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a blast, and we're having so much fun doing it. And it's fun because I think I had mentioned to you on Monday's show, Jeremy Adolphson was on here, and all of a sudden he says, I did Ness Guest. I won Ness Guest when he was 10 years old. That's amazing to hear, isn't it?
Well, and not only that, but the week before, Kyle Karstens won, and he said that he won the Ness Guest when he was 12 years old.
That's crazy.
So it's just crazy. And I understand that Jeremy said that I beat him back when he was 10 years old. He actually went against me in picks. And I had to win. I can't lose to a 10-year-old.
He was 10, Ness. You couldn't even give him a no mercy from Mark Nessler. No mercy.
There's no mercy. There's no mercy.
I will tell people there's no mercy when it comes to me because we've competed in this several times, and every time I take a pie in my face, we're doing the same thing this year. Loser takes a pie in his face from the winner, and I got close last week, or I got to within one. So you had built a four-game lead. I had a great week. I got back within one. I was feeling good, and then this week you just do what Ness does, and
I'm back up by 3. And look at the hat. It says "Paradise ain't easy." And that's exactly what this whole past week of NFL picks was. Paradise ain't easy because you look back and Oregon against Penn State needed an interception to win. And so I needed that game. And I actually went 3-0 against you in the college games.
College was awful for me.
Oh, and it was wonderful for me. I loved it. I thought I was going to cruise through Sunday. And I figured that we had 8 games different this week.
It's wild.
Which is incredible. I think that's the most we've ever had in all of those years that I've ever had Ness Guests. And so I figured I only needed 2 out of 5. And man, if you didn't storm back and win 3 in a row in the early games, including that one over in Dublin, Ireland, which I needed that one. Yeah. And so it came down to the Chiefs and the Bears. And the Chiefs got up ahead. Got up early, and so I figured I'd at least have a tie. And then it came down to the Bears, and they're going for the field goal. And I said, okay, a tie's not so bad. But then they blocked the kick, and I win by 2. So we head into week 5. I've actually won 3 out of the 4 weeks. And I think we ought to change our rules to go back to week wins instead of point wins. But
No. You missed. Look at the wily veteran trying to take advantage of
you got to twist it and turn it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm up 3. I'm up 3. Head into week 5, and I'll take that.
Yeah, I guess I'm happy because I was 4 a couple weeks ago. So, and I was really scared, Ness, after week 1, after Saturday, after college stuff, because
because I was
home. I was at Iowa City at the Kinnick with my son, and on the way home, he's like, "Dad, I didn't do too good in Ness guests." I'm like, "Well," and we start going through it. I'm like, "I don't know if I won. I might have won 1."
You won 1 in college. You were 1-5.
Iowa State, right? That's the only thing I won.
Yeah, that was it.
I lost Georgia.
Illinois.
I lost LSU. I lost Illinois. I lost to Iowa. I mean, it was awful for me. So I thought it was going to be pretty bad. So the fact that I came back on Sunday isn't too bad. We got to thank and congratulate because we have winners. And the cool thing
I have them.
We had 6 people tie at 16
and 5. 16 and 5. That's really good.
Yeah, that was remarkable. And so when you're going through and doing it, like, and then you get to that tiebreaker, I remember being young, Ness, and just filling out the tiebreaker for whatever. Like, it don't matter. And it's important, especially in this, when we're not dealing with spreads and all that kind of stuff. Like, you got a lot of people in the contest. That tiebreaker is going to be important, and it was this week.
It's going to come down to who wins,
Tell us who the winner is, and it's
the winner?
I love the winners because every time we do one, Ness is like, I know them, and there's always
I know that guy.
Yeah.
And I know this guy. TJ Crone is our winner, and he won the tiebreaker against 5 others. But I remember TJ, he went to Alleman when I went to Rocky, and we actually played summer baseball against each other, Douglas Park. And what I specifically remember about TJ Crone is I didn't strike out a whole lot. As a matter of fact, I can only remember one when I was 18 years old. I only remember striking out 1 time that whole season, and it was against TJ Crone. Now, there's a caveat there. My mom was in the stands, as she always was, and she always, go Ness, go number 11. On this particular time at bat, she goes, go double 1. And I'm thinking, double 1? What in the world, Mom, are you talking about? Double 1? You've never said that before. And I think it threw me off my game. TJ, I want a redo. Now, I guess we can't do a redo. That was 5 decades later. Now, I guess we're not going to get a redo. But, yeah, he fanned me on an outside corner pitch.
Are you blaming
and I was
Mom?
so mad at my mom.
Are you blaming Mom for one of your only strikeouts you remember?
I certainly am.
That's okay.
And she has passed away, so she can't defend herself.
God
sad to say.
Soul. Absolutely.
I know. Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely. So, congratulations to TJ. I don't know if it's a good thing, TJ, because I think you also now have Ness going to therapy tomorrow.
Amen.
Bringing up bad things and
that's
all that
right.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, bring up that pass.
We got to mention because I think his point total was 36, which is low, but the final score was 31.
Was total. 31? Yes, he was 5 off.
So he was the closest to that. He wins, but I don't know. I hope you have the list from earlier.
I do. You have 5 people. Now I usually say pick like in the mid 40s. Mm-hmm. I always like 44 because it's my lucky number, but I'm sure that's what these 5 did. And therefore, it made TJ the closest. But the other 5 were Dan Lee. And I think Dan is a professor, or I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he is.
Okay.
Name sounds really familiar. Josh McGonigal.
Okay.
Ethan Gordon, who I believe I taught in junior high. I think he can chime in at some point.
Yeah.
And say, hey, that was me.
Media. Yeah.
Dave Miller, I think know.
Dane Miller.
Dane Miller, yes.
And
Dane
he
Miller.
is, Ness, this show doesn't exist without Dane Miller. He is I'm trying to think of a cool title, the engineer extraordinaire. Like none of this, and I can't stress that enough. None of this is even possible without Dane Miller. So he's like the smart engineer technology guy. He might need to take my job and be the host too, because he's doing better than I am.
He's a smart football picker too.
Yeah, he's doing better than I am. So great job.
And
Dane.
the last one is Barry Harper.
Okay.
And so there's your 5, your list of 5 that went 16 and 5.
Yeah. And the beauty thing is
a tip of the Hobo Cup to you.
There you go. And the beauty thing is each weekly winner gets free food from Hungry Hobo. So it's a great prize.
Yep.
We thank them once again. And giving shout outs to the others, because we want to get as many people in this thing as possible. I asked you recently, when it was rocking and rolling, Ness, how many people got into Ness Guest back in its like heyday?
The heyday came when we were able to do picking online, the newspaper website. It was just a click there, and I bet we had anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 a week.
We got our work to do.
Which is really nice. Really nice. We're talking, all the Quad Cities was aware of it. They entered it. But when we first started out, Matt, we had paper ballots, and those were so hard to grade. You had to do it by hand. I gave it to my part-timers. They resisted, but they still did it. God bless their souls.
Well, they're not dead, are they?
No, they're
okay. Just double checking.
No.
All right.
I didn't want to talk about souls there.
Right,
but that was like 300 or 400 a week.
Unreal.
When we first started out. So that's quite a bit too.
And that's why, Ness, I shouldn't be surprised by the number, because that's why we have Jeremy Adolphson and Travis Spreet.
Yeah.
Like everywhere I go, people are like, I love Ness Guests. That's why I wanted to bring it back, because I did it. Yep. Like I get it. So it's really simple to do. You go to my social media. There's a different link every week. My lovely wife puts together the poll, and you click on it. It takes 90 seconds to fill out. I mean, we have to do longer because we have to try to be funny and entertain a little bit, but you can see the entire article of my picks, Ness's picks, all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't copy them. I wouldn't copy them, because God knows we don't know what we're doing sometimes, but get on there, do it. It's a bunch of fun. So we got to turn the page to this week now, and I got some work to do. It's a different week. So the NFL goes to a bye week. So we have less
14 games,
and we get rid of the Thursday. So there's 13 NFL games. No Bears this week, no Packers this week. So it kind of makes it a little less fun maybe when it comes to talking on this show. But we have a slate of college games, and the college games, there's no Iowa this week because they're in a bye week. So
right.
Can you imagine? I'm a Lions fan and an Iowa fan, but there's a lot of Bears fans that are Iowa fans, and they got nothing to do this weekend. How crazy is that? Because both the Hawkeyes and the Bears are on.
Cheer against the Packers.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll come.
We watch baseball. We can watch baseball play.
They'll come cheer against my Lions. I understand. I'm okay with that. So let's start in the college game. We're going to start with Illinois, because you got back on track with Illinois last week, and I want to set it up by saying. You look at it, Ness, and they impressive comeback. They beat USC. Really great win, emotional win, all that kind of stuff. Ohio State's 2 weeks away. So it's like right there coming up, and that's what people are looking towards.
And that game's at Champaign, right? Game's at Champaign.
Yeah. And then you look at Purdue, and you're like, they've been down lately. It's the protected rivalry game, which annoys me. And especially probably you being in the Quad Cities, because Iowa, Illinois should be the rivalry game, and they never play anymore. But they go to their place. I think it's a 9.5-point favorite. It's that ultimate trap game, Ness, where look ahead, kind of let down, all those kind of cliches. What do you think?
Very possibly could be, because I'm 0-3 in picking Illinois games. I have yet to pick a correct outcome for the Illini.
So Illinois fans are praying.
I pick them to win, they lose. I pick them to lose, they win.
They're hoping. Illinois fans are hoping you pick.
Please, thinking that I'm going to get my first Illini win this season. And if not, Ohio State's next week.
Yeah.
So who knows what I'll do. The whammy could be there. Yeah. But I'm going to Illinois. Yeah, I'm going to go Illinois.
You know what? I like to be different, but I can't be here. Really impressed with what Brett Bielema and his team did last week, and they looked really good doing it. They blew the lead. Did. They were up 2 touchdowns. They blew that lead, but answered back. And so I think it's their coach. And we talked to Ken Prince about this earlier, Ness, but Illinois between 2008 and 2023 had 3 victories over ranked teams. 15 years, they were 3-40 against ranked teams. Last year and half of this year, they have 5 already.
Well, yeah.
Isn't that amazing? So 5 in 2 years or a year and a half.
And Brett Bielema gets all the credit.
100%. So I'm not going to – I made the mistake last week. Shame on me.
Yeah,
I'm going to
same.
go back to taking Illinois to win this week as well. Iowa State. We haven't talked a lot about Iowa State. They
No.
remind me of that 2015 team, and for Iowa. That like went
Right,
undefeated,
yeah,
and everybody kept expecting them to lose at some point, and they never did. And they found ways to win, and they looked really good. Iowa State did against Arizona. Now they go on the road to Cincinnati to play the Bearcats, who put up 40 last week, being a good Kansas team, playing really well, and now they're favored. So Iowa State's a road on 1.5, nothing crazy, basically a pick 'em. But what do you think? Cincinnati, Iowa State. I'll let you go.
Dazzo, I know absolutely nothing about Cincinnati other than the fact that they're favored.
Yeah.
I do know that this is one of those games where I have to kind of think the way that you're going to think and then go the other way.
Okay.
And so I'm with the Ness gate.
Okay.
But in this particular case, I'm going to side with Cincinnati.
It's funny because and I do not change, and we don't. Like people said, like 8 different last week. Like, what were you guys trying? We don't try. I don't look at his until I make mine, and then we put them together. You're right, though. I'm taking Iowa State, and it's one of those things that, like, I watched Cincinnati first week of the year. I gave that game away to Nebraska, and I don't think Nebraska's great. And I think Iowa State finds a way to win on the road. They continue to do that. So I'll go Iowa State as well. So we got Iowa State. We both got Illinois. I got Iowa State. You got Cincinnati. The last game college-wise I want to talk about is I feel like I'm in junior high again because it's Florida State, Miami. I feel like it's Bobby Bowden and Jimmy. Miami's impressive. They're number 4 in the country. I'm going to go first on this one. I like the victim of the upset this week. What do you think?
Well, and you know what? LSU, who you had last week, they were ranked number 4 against Ole Miss, and I took Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a repeat of that, except in reverse, because I'm going to take the number 4 team, Miami, and you've got Florida State, and you know we have a different in the college.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get up to 8 different like we had last week.
You never know with us. You never know with us.
But yeah, you never know. I mean, if you make 6 crazy picks on the NFL, I will be ever thankful.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Okay. So we're going to go overseas, and I think it was Ireland or Dublin or
last week it was Dublin. Yeah.
Was it Dublin or it was go to Pittsburgh? And that environment. Sure. So, like, it's actually paid off nicely for the Vikings, but they looked bad last week. They now take on the Browns. The Browns are coming off beating the Packers a few weeks ago. The Lions got them pretty good scoreboard-wise, but it was a closer game than that 34-10 thing says. So, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
I can go first. It's funny because when we taped this earlier, I went on the record as saying I was going to take the Browns. Mm-hmm. Now, since then, I have come to learn that 40-year-old Joe Flacco may not start.
Yeah. And
they may go with their rookie quarterback. So
that's Shedeur Sanders, but the Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, well, no, they're not going to go Sanders.
Yeah.
They're not going to go Sanders.
Yeah.
I think his name is his name Daniels?
Dylan Gabriel.
Gabriel, that's it. Yeah. Gabriel. Yep, Dylan Gabriel. Here's another thing, though. The Vikings, like Pittsburgh came back home, they get a bye. But Minnesota's already there, and Cleveland has to travel there. And so they have the benefit of Cleveland traveling that distance and time zones and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And the Vikings do not. Now, I think then the Minnesota has the bye week the week after that, I think, right?
Yes.
So they don't have that lag time. I always thought I initially picked the Browns because I thought the Vikings were going to come back here to the USA.
And their defense is outstanding. And the Packers knew that. The Bears and the Lions had a punt return for a touchdown. They had an interception that they took back down to the 5-yard line, scored there. They had a strip sack by Hutchinson, set up a short field as well. When it came to yardage wise, they were almost even for most of the game with the others. So anyways, I think their defense is really good. I think their offense is awful. I'll tell people this, and I gamble a little bit on the NFL. The first quarter under, if it's 7 and 7.5, take the under. They're not scoring. No, both teams won't score. It's good chance it's 3-0, 0-0. So anyways, I will take the Browns, which means, Ness, we already have 3 different, and we don't even try to do this. Like, we really don't sit there and like what games we have different. We try to do the Hawkeyes and the Illini and the Iowa State and, Bears, Packers, those kind of things. So,
and that's Sunday morning, right?
Yeah.
Sunday morning, right?
Yeah. 8:30.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask again for forgiveness as I check my cell phone for updates in the next to last pew in my church.
Oh,
it's
you're going to give yourself away. If people watch
I know.
this,
Well, you know what? Hey,
if anybody sees Ness on his phone during church, I want you to get your phone out, and God will forgive you. And I want you to take a picture and send it to me. We'll put it up on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Stay off your phone. Come on, Ness. You're better than that. Right?
No, I'm not.
True. That's true. Hey, I may
Every
have
2 weeks
excused
in a row.
myself.
But I don't think there's any more 8:30 games on Sunday. This might be it.
Ness, I didn't say this to you earlier, but I may have excused myself to use the restroom around 8:35 in Mass. And they may have checked and.
Well, I have to take the guy that I sit with at church. He's a needs person, and he often goes to the restroom. So even if I didn't look on my cell in church, I could look on my cell when I take Jimmy to the restroom.
There you go.
And so I do have some excuses there. Build in.
We're horrible human beings. We need more than just Mass on Sunday. We need to go a little more than that.
Yeah.
So, one last one. I think this is a really good matchup. The matchup I like, Ness, is the Thursday night game. We don't want to put the Thursday night game on it
Niners,
because
Rams.
that gets people to have to go early.
Right.
Bucks.
Yeah, we want to
and
give all the time we can.
Bucks and Seahawks.
Bucks and
3-1.
Seahawks, yeah.
It's out in like 2 weeks, something like that, 2 or 3 weeks. And like, that's a scary game. It's in Detroit, but it's a scary game because I just think Baker Mayfield is overlooked. He almost brought him back last week as well. So I like Baker pick from there.
Yeah, the Bucks are an underdog. But I, same as you, love Baker Mayfield. I think the Browns made a big mistake getting rid of him, and Tampa Bay certainly benefited. But then I look at the backfield, and you got Bucky Irvin, who not only runs the ball well, but receives the ball well on passes. Yeah. I think he had like 8 receptions 2 weeks ago for like 80 yards against Walker the Third. I don't know about Walker Jr. or Walker, the original Walker. But I would take Bucky over Walker the Third in that matchup. And I would take Mayfield over Sam Darnold in that matchup. So just based on those two, I know you got the home field advantage, and it kind of scares me. I know Seattle's a hard place to play, and they are playing well. I think they're running for the postseason for sure. But I'm going to take the Bucks, and we're well on way to having many, many, many different. I'm anxious to see how the rest of it shakes out. When do we print that Thursday morning?
It'll come up tomorrow. Today, Wednesday at noon. Once the show gets over at Wednesday at noon, I post that thing out there, and it's out there for good. So, we already got a lot different, which is a beautiful thing. Ness, you know what? I thought, and I said this last time, I thought I really enjoyed the first time we recorded this. I think the second time was just as good, if not better.
Let's not make it a habit.
Though.
No, it was good.
I was so bummed out. I was so bummed out because it was really fun. But I learned from my mistake. Ness is all forgiving when it comes to that kind of stuff. So we got to do it again. It was a ton of fun. If you're out there and you want to get involved in Ness Guests, my social media at Matt Randazzo on X, on Facebook. I don't know why I can't get rid of it. People keep asking me. I don't know. It's WQAD Matt Randazzo. I'm trying to get rid of the WQAD. No offense to them, but it's just I'm not there anymore. But still effort. If anybody can figure out Facebook, let me know. But anyways, that's where you can find it, and Ness will do the same.
How can I point to my name?
There you go.
There.
Look at
right
that.
there. Okay.
Yep.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
That's my social media. So you can go there.
Absolutely.
Enter as well.
And there's a link, and you click it, and you fill it out, and it's a bunch of fun. You can win Great Hungry Hobo. We want to thank Hungry Hobo one more time for allowing us to do the Ness guest once again. Ness, I thank you. And next time, we will make sure that I click the right button so we can see us, not just hear us. The audio version.
The Hobo logo is behind us.
There you go.
The Hobo logo is behind us, yeah.
So I want to say good luck, but I don't mean it. I hope you lose every game and have different. So thank you, my friend, and we'll talk again. We'll talk again next week.
All right, thanks. We'll see you next week.
All right, we got much more here on Off the Air coming up right after this.
Give me the keys.
Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday. Wednesday, October 1st. What a busy day it's been. A great show, fun show. I want to thank our guest, Tim Dwight, kicked things off and returned it to the house, if that makes any sense. Great to talk to the Iowa legend when it comes to kick returns, punt returns, kickoff returns, what he sees in Hayden Fry. We talked about the current Iowa Hawkeyes, Kirk Ferentz, Hayden Fry. Great story from Hayden Fry. So check out Tim Dwight if you missed Tim Dwight. And then breaking news off the top of the show, the Hawkeyes land number 6 recruit in the country, McKenna Woliczko from California. And so luckily, because he's such a good human being, Kyle Huesman, who's got Iowa women's basketball and recruiting locked down, one of the best in the business when it comes to that, was able to join us to break the entire recruitment and commitment down. So check that out if you missed it. Also, great to catch up with Ness, talk a little football. Make sure you guys get involved. Go to my social media, click the link, sign up. Each weekly winner gets free Hungry Hobo, which is outstanding and delicious. So thank you to everybody who joined the show today. Excited about tomorrow. Josh Sash, the Iowa men's basketball coach. Basketball practice started recently. Josh will join us to talk all about the Iowa Hawkeyes basketball team this year, the Bennett Sturts, and everything in between. So they got secret scrimmages coming up that we're going to try to talk to them about. It probably won't work very well, but Josh will be on tomorrow to lead off the show tomorrow. So excited about that. Also, people are probably wondering and yelling and texting me that, where is Ty Taylor? This is usually Wednesday. This is Ty Taylor Day. He comes on and talks about the Three Rivers Conference. We're going to move him to tomorrow. So Ty, never fear. Ty will be here. We'll talk with Ty tomorrow as well. So a great show lined up already tomorrow. And that's without hopefully the Cubs clinching here in about 2 hours. We can talk about that and a bunch more other stuff tomorrow. So that's the plan. That's the hope. And we'll kind of go from there. Don't forget, on Friday, we're going to hit the road. We'll be at Browning Field in Moline for Rock Island Moline, one of the best, longest running rivalries in the state of Illinois when it comes to football and everything else. So we will be at Browning Field coming up on Friday as well. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing and all that kind of stuff. It helps out a ton. And we should have a fun rest of the week. A weird weekend. There won't be any podcast or show on Saturday. I've been doing those with Iowa and kind of recapping college football. Iowa's on a bye week. I got a bunch of busy stuff with the kiddos, so nothing on Saturday, but we'll be back at it on Monday again. So Thursday, Friday on the road, and then we'll rock and roll again next week as well. So excited about it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I appreciate it, and we will be back with a brand new show tomorrow right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We'll see you guys then.